Did you grow up believing your refrigerator keeps your food and your family safe? What if I told you that same fridge might secretly be ruining some of the foods you eat every single day? Every year, millions of households throw away perfectly good food, not because it's expired, but because it was stored the wrong way. And here's the surprising truth. Some of the most healthy and natural foods we keep in the fridge are actually losing their nutrients, creating hidden toxins, or becoming 10 times less beneficial than we think. But the problem isn't the refrigerator itself, it's how we use it. So in today's episode, I'll show you 8 everyday foods you should never store in the fridge, and I'll explain the science-backed reasons why, plus the best ways to keep them fresh, safe, and full of nutrients. Before we begin, take a guess. What do you think is the first food on this list? Let's start with a food almost everyone keeps in the fridge, but shouldn't: the humble potato. Because when it gets too cold, its natural starch quietly turns into a hidden toxin. Here's something most people never realize. Keeping raw potatoes in the fridge doesn't make them last longer, it actually makes them more dangerous when cooked. At low temperatures, the natural starch in potatoes begins to break down and convert into sugar. When those sugary potatoes are later baked, roasted, or fried at high heat, a chemical reaction called the Maillard reaction takes place between sugars and amino acids, creating a compound known as acrylamide. Acrylamide isn't something you can see, smell, or taste, but research from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, FDA, and the European Food Safety Authority, EFSA, has shown that it can form in carbohydrate-rich foods cooked above 120 degrees Celsius, about 250 degrees Fahrenheit, and may be linked to an increased risk of certain cancers when consumed in large amounts over time. So what's the right way to store potatoes? Keep them in a cool, dry, well-ventilated place, never in the refrigerator, and never sealed in plastic bags. Store them in a mesh basket or cloth bag to allow airflow and prevent moisture buildup. Cooking tip: when you fry or roast potatoes, avoid over-browning or burning them. The darker the crust, the more acrylamide it's likely to contain. Bonus tip: store potatoes under your kitchen counter or in a dry corner of your home, not under bright light, to keep them fresh and toxin-free longer. Next up is a fruit we all love and often toss straight into the fridge: the banana. But when it gets too cold, its smooth sweetness turns into a soggy mess, and even its natural sugars start working against you. You might think keeping bananas in the fridge helps them stay fresh longer, but the truth is, cold temperatures actually damage them from the inside out. When exposed to cold air, the enzymes responsible for ripening shut down, while the natural pigments in the peel break down unevenly. That's why refrigerated bananas quickly turn black on the outside, even when the inside still looks fine. But here's the catch: inside, the fruit becomes mushy, loses its natural sweetness balance, and undergoes a subtle chemical change that increases its glycemic index. That means your body absorbs its sugars faster, causing sharper spikes in blood glucose and insulin, something especially concerning if you're watching your weight or managing diabetes. The right way to store bananas: keep them at room temperature, away from direct sunlight or heat. If they're ripening too fast, wrap the stems with plastic wrap or aluminum foil. It slows down the release of ethylene gas, which controls ripening. And if your bananas are already too ripe, don't throw them away. Peel, slice, and freeze them instead. Frozen bananas are perfect for smoothies, pancakes, or healthy desserts, sweet, creamy, and still full of potassium and fiber. Bonus tip: store bananas separately from other fruits, especially apples and avocados, to prevent them from ripening too quickly. Now, let's talk about a kitchen favorite that loses its magic in the fridge: the tomato. Because when it gets too cold, its vibrant flavor fades, its texture collapses, and its powerful antioxidant lycopene simply stops working. Here's a kitchen habit almost everyone has: keeping tomatoes in the fridge. It seems logical: cold means fresh, right? But for tomatoes, the opposite is true. When exposed to cold temperatures, the tomato's delicate cell membranes break down. This not only ruins its juicy texture but also shuts down the enzymes responsible for producing lycopene, the powerful antioxidant that gives tomatoes their deep red color and helps protect against aging, inflammation, and heart disease. That's why a chilled tomato often tastes watery, bland, or oddly mealy compared to one ripened naturally on the counter. The cold literally turns off its flavor and nutrient potential. The right way to store tomatoes. Keep them at room temperature in a well-ventilated basket, away from direct sunlight. And if you want your green tomatoes to ripen faster, place them near a banana or an apple. These fruits naturally release ethylene gas, which gently accelerates ripening. If your tomatoes are already too ripe, don't waste them. Blend and freeze them. They'll be perfect later for sauces, soups, or stews, with most of their flavor and nutrients still intact. Bonus tip. Store tomatoes with the stem side facing down. It slows moisture loss and extends freshness naturally. Next is a fruit that everyone loves for its creamy texture and healthy fats, the avocado. But when you put it in the fridge too soon, the cold doesn't preserve it, it actually kills the natural enzymes that help it ripen. Few fruits are as loved as the creamy avocado, but storing it wrong can ruin its perfect texture and flavor. Many people make the mistake of putting unripe avocados straight into the fridge, thinking it will keep them fresh longer. In reality, cold temperatures freeze the natural enzymes responsible for ripening, halting the process entirely. The result? An avocado that looks fine on the outside but is firm, stringy, and bitter on the inside, with dark spots and a dull taste. Once those enzymes are deactivated, the fruit can't recover, no matter how long you wait. The right way to store avocados. Let them ripen naturally at room temperature until slightly soft to the touch. Once ripe, you can refrigerate them, but only for a day or two to slow further ripening. If you've already cut the avocado, sprinkle a few drops of lemon or lime juice over the flesh before storing it in an airtight container. The acidity prevents oxidation, keeping it green and fresh longer. Bonus tip. If you want your avocados to ripen faster, place them in a paper bag with a banana or an apple. These fruits release ethylene gas, nature's own ripening accelerator. Coming up next is a kitchen staple that can heal or harm depending on how you store it, garlic. Because when it's kept too cold, it doesn't stay fresh, it starts to sprout, lose its strength, and fade in both flavor and power. Garlic is one of nature's most powerful medicines, packed with allicin, the compound responsible for its strong aroma and incredible anti-inflammatory, antibacterial, and heart protective effects. But when you store garlic in the fridge, you're slowly destroying what makes it so special. Cold and humidity trigger premature sprouting. Those little green shoots you see growing in the center of a clove? They're a sign that the garlic's chemistry has changed, and that its allicin content has dropped significantly. The result? Less flavor, fewer health benefits, and a bitter aftertaste. The right way to store garlic. Keep it in a cool, dry, well-ventilated place, never in the refrigerator. Store it whole, with the skin on, in a mesh bag or open basket to allow airflow. If you like having pre-chopped garlic ready to use, that's fine, but instead of keeping it in the fridge, freeze it in small portions. You'll preserve its flavor and potency without risking bacterial growth. Important safety note. Never store a homemade mix of garlic and oil at room temperature. That combination creates a perfect environment for Clostridium botulinum, the bacterium that causes botulism, a rare but potentially fatal form of food poisoning. Bonus tip. To get the most allicin, crush or chop garlic and let it sit for 10 minutes before cooking. That's when its beneficial compounds fully activate. Next on the list is something every kitchen has, onions. But when you store them in the fridge, the cold doesn't keep them crisp, it traps moisture, making them soft, moldy, and spoiled before you even notice. Onions seem harmless in the fridge, but cold temperatures actually do them more harm than good. Inside a refrigerator, moisture levels fluctuate constantly, and onions act like sponges, absorbing that humidity. The result? They soften, become slimy, and start growing mold far sooner than you'd expect. What's worse, when stored next to potatoes, the problem doubles. Potatoes release ethylene gas and moisture, both of which accelerate onion decay and make them sprout faster. The right way to store onions: keep them in a cool, dry, and well-ventilated place, away from direct sunlight, and definitely away from potatoes. Good airflow prevents moisture buildup and helps the onion's natural outer skin stay crisp and protective. Bonus tip: store onions in mesh bags or paper-lined baskets instead of plastic. Or hang them in old nylon stockings or mesh nets, an old-fashioned trick that can double their shelf life while keeping them firm and flavorful. Our next food is nature's golden medicine, honey. But when you store it in the fridge, the cold doesn't protect its goodness. It slowly destroys the very enzymes and healing power that make honey so special. Honey is often seen as the perfect, natural sweetener, golden, soothing, and full of healing properties. But when you store it in the fridge, that golden goodness begins to lose its magic. Cold temperatures cause honey to crystallize, separating the natural sugars from the water content. It turns thick, grainy, and harder to use. Many people see this and assume the honey has gone bad, so they try to fix it by heating it up. But here's the problem. Once honey is heated above 40 degrees Celsius, 104 degrees Fahrenheit, its delicate enzymes, antioxidants, and antibacterial compounds start to break down. In other words, what was once a healing food becomes just another sweet syrup. The right way to store honey: keep it at room temperature, in a tightly sealed glass jar, away from sunlight and moisture. If it crystallizes naturally, don't panic. Simply place the jar in a bowl of warm water below 40 degrees Celsius, and let it gently return to its smooth form. Bonus tip: honey isn't meant to replace sugar entirely. Think of it as a functional food, not a daily sweetener. Just 1 or 2 teaspoons a day are enough to support your immune system without overloading your body with sugar. And finally, let's talk about a comfort food we all adore: bread. But when you put it in the fridge, the cold doesn't keep it fresh. It slowly steals its moisture, hardens its heart, and dries out the very soul of the loaf. Few things are more comforting than the smell of fresh bread, soft inside, golden outside. But the moment you put that loaf in the fridge, you're actually speeding up its death. Cold temperatures cause a process called starch retrogradation, where the starch molecules in bread recrystallize. This reaction forces out moisture, making the bread dry, hard, and flavorless far sooner than if it were left at room temperature. And the fridge's natural humidity only makes things worse, creating the perfect environment for mold to grow. The right way to store bread: if you plan to eat it within 1 or 2 days, keep it in a cool, dry place. A bread box or a clean cloth bag works best. But if you want to keep it longer, don't refrigerate it, freeze it instead. Freezing locks in freshness and texture without drying it out. When you're ready to enjoy it, reheat frozen slices in a toaster, oven, or pan. They'll taste freshly baked again. Bonus tip: slice the bread before freezing, so you can take out exactly what you need each time, keeping every piece soft, aromatic, and full of life. And before you rush to empty your fridge after hearing all those warnings, don't worry, the fridge isn't the villain here. It's actually one of your greatest tools, if you know how to use it right. So now, let's shift gears and talk about something just as important: how to store your food the smart, scientific way. Your refrigerator can be your best friend, or your silent enemy, depending on how you use it. Storing food the right way isn't just about neat shelves. It's about keeping freshness, flavor, and nutrients alive while preventing waste and bacteria growth. Here are 5 science-backed tips to help you make your fridge work smarter for you. 1. Organize by temperature zones. Each part of your fridge has its own microclimate. Top shelf. Store cooked foods, dairy, and eggs, the most stable area with consistent cooling. Middle shelf. Keep dry goods or tightly sealed containers here, Bottom drawer. Perfect for fresh produce. Place vegetables in zip bags or open containers to keep humidity balanced. This zoning system ensures every food type stays at its ideal temperature. No more soggy greens or spoiled leftovers. 2. Don't overpack your fridge. Air circulation is key. When the fridge is jammed full, cold air can't flow evenly, creating warm pockets where bacteria thrive. Leave some space between items so the air can move freely. Your food and your energy bill will thank you. 3. Clean it weekly. A quick wipe once a week prevents mold, odors, and cross-contamination. Remove expired foods, wash drawers with warm water and mild vinegar, and dry everything completely before restocking. A clean fridge is a healthy fridge. 4. Control moisture and odor naturally. Place a small bowl of baking soda or use moisture-absorbing paper inside. These simple tools neutralize odors and prevent excess humidity, helping your fruits and veggies stay crisp twice as long. 5. Never store hot food immediately. Let food cool to room temperature before refrigerating. Hot dishes create condensation inside the fridge, raising humidity and accelerating mold growth. Cooling first helps your fridge stay dry and efficient. Bonus tip. Label your containers with the purchase date or use first tags. It's a small habit that prevents food waste, helps with meal planning, and keeps your fridge organized like a pro kitchen. A fridge isn't just a storage box, it's a living ecosystem. When you understand how temperature, air, and moisture interact, you don't just store food, you preserve life, flavor, and health with every meal. The truth isn't just inside your fridge, it's inside your daily choices. Every meal you prepare is a message to your body. When you store food the right way, you're not just keeping it fresh, you're keeping a promise to your health. Sometimes, the biggest changes start with the smallest details, like where you place a potato or how you treat a single tomato. It's not just about food preservation, it's about self-respect, awareness, and care. Now, tell us, out of the 8 foods we talked about today, which one surprised you the most? Have you been storing any of them the wrong way without knowing? Share your answer in the comments below so we can learn and grow together. Red heart, and if this video helped you see your kitchen a little differently, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Health 247, where we learn how to eat smarter, live longer, and age stronger, one small choice at a time. Thank you.